What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a look at the Magus class in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, which is currently in beta. So the class itself is actually kind of like a battle mage, really. If you want to wield a weapon while also casting spells in your offhand, it's kind of the way to go. Now that said, it is an arcane caster class. Intelligence is its caster ability. I do want to do a quick aside though. You're not going to get a ton of spells compared to other classes simply because you kind of have that melee focus at the same time. So even if you have a high intelligence, you're not going to get a lot of extra spell slots out of that. So just something to keep in mind there. For our class skills, we have Knowledge Arcana, Knowledge World, Use Magic Device, Athletics, and Persuasion. For proficiencies, we will be proficient with all simple and martial weapons, as well as light armor. Now, we can cast our spells from our class while wearing light armor without incurring our arcane spell failure chance. However, if you're wearing medium or heavy armor, or using a shield, you will incur the regular chance of arcane spell failure. Moreover, if you multi-class, you're still going to incur regular failure chance for spells that you receive from other classes, even if you're in light armor. In addition to this, they will be able to detect magic, of course. Perhaps most interestingly, they get access to an arcane pool. So at first level, they're going to gain a reservoir of mystical arcane energy to fuel your powers and enhance your weapon. This will have a number of points equal to half your level plus your intelligence modifier. This will refresh per rest, basically, when you prepare your spells. At first level, you can expend a point of this to grant a weapon you are having a +1 bonus for 1 minute as a swift action. Every 4 levels, you're going to gain another +1 to this at a maximum of +5 at 17th level. This does stack with existing weapon enhancements. However, multiple uses don't stack with themselves. Now at 5th level, you can actually choose to add several weapon properties such as Flaming, Flaming Burst, Frost, Icy Burst, Keen, Shock, Shocking Burst, Speed. Now, the thing is, if you choose to do that, it will take the base modifier price away from the base bonus you're giving to your weapon, which varies, of course, depending on which property you're adding. And then the other big class feature we need to talk about is spell combat. So at first level, we're going to pick up the ability to wield spells and our weapons at the same time. This is very similar to two-weapon fighting, but the offhand weapon is actually your spells. So to do this, you can't have anything in your offhand, or it won't work. Now, as a full round action, you can make all of your attacks with your melee weapon at a -2 penalty, and can also cast any spell from your spell list with a casting time of a standard action. Now at 8th level, this becomes improved spell combat, giving us a +2 circumstance bonus to concentration checks when we're using this ability. And then at 14th level, this becomes a +4 bonus to a concentration check. Then at 19th level, this becomes greater spell access. So you'll be able to learn 6 spells of any levels 1 through 6 from the wizard spell list and place them into your spellbook as Magus spells, allowing you to cast them while wearing armor. Then at 2nd level, we actually pick up Spell Strike. So whenever we cast a spell with a range of touch from our spell list, we can deliver that spell as part of our weapon attacks. So basically, this just adds a weapon attack to your touch spells. However, if you're using spell combat at the same time, this will still take the penalties from spell combat melee attacks. So your weapon crit range for this will be 20, 19 to 20, or 18 to 20, depending on your modifiers. However, the spell effect will only be able to deal ×2 damage on a successful critical hit, while the weapon damage uses whatever critical modifier it already has. And at 16th level, we can pick up Counter Strike. Any enemy within reach of us that successfully casts a spell defensively will provoke an attack of opportunity from us after their spell completes. And then we have Magus Arcana. So, as we gain levels, specifically at level 3 and every 3 levels after that, we will be able to pick up special talents for our class. Now, these are things that primarily affect our arcane pool, or cost points from our arcane pool to add different bonuses and stuff, as you can see on screen here. So just kind of some various things going on there. And then at 4th level, we can actually pick up Spell Recall. This will allow us to use our arcane pool to recall spells we've already cast. So with the swift action, we can recall any single spell that we've already prepared and cast that day by expending a number of points from our pool equal to the spell's level. This is what makes up for not getting a lot of spell slots. And then at 11th level, this becomes improved spell recall, which halves the number of arcane points we need to spend to regain our spell. So basically half the spell level instead of the full spell level cost. And then at 5th level, we can pick up a bonus feat. At 5th, 11th, and 17th level, we will be able to pick up an extra feat from the combat or magic feat list. These are just regular feats, but just from those specific lists. Then at 7th level, we're going to gain proficiency with medium armor and be allowed to cast spells in it without incurring a spell failure chance. At 10th level, we're going to pick up fighter training, which will let us count half of our class level as a fighter level for the purpose of qualifying for feats. If you already have fighter levels, it will stack with those. And then at 13th level, we pick up a heavy armor proficiency that again will allow us to use our spells from this class without incurring a spell failure chance. And that brings us to Armored Battle Mage. So this changes a few things. For starters, our arcane pool will no longer apply to our weapon. The bonus we get from arcane pool normally, using those points to add to our weapon, instead will get added to our armor. We pick up medium armor proficiency at level 1, which will also give us a +4 bonus on our concentration checks, stacking with the combat casting feat. Now, again, this will let us cast our class spells without incurring spell failure chance. It doesn't specifically say that here, but this is the same as the one you would get at 7th level normally. Now, also, starting at 3rd level, and then every few levels after that, we pick up armor training as per the fighter ability. And what that does is, for every level of this, it reduces the armor check penalty from your armor, as well as the maximum bonus from dexterity to your armor class. So armor check penalties will affect things like athletics checks and stuff like that. This lessens the penalties, as well as giving you your dexterity bonus to AC that wearing heavier armor would normally take away. Now at 7th level, we actually pick up our heavy armor proficiency instead of at 13th level. And then I forgot to mention this for the base class, so I'll mention it here. But at 20th level, we pick up True Magus, so you'll become a master of spells in combat. And whenever you use your spell combat ability, you don't need to make a concentration check to cast the spell defensively. Moreover, whenever you use it, you can choose to either increase the DC to resist your spells by 2, grant yourself a +2 circumstance bonus on any checks made to overcome spell resistance, or grant yourself a +2 circumstance bonus on all attack rolls. Now that brings us to Eldritch Archer. Eldritch Archer is the easiest one to sum up. It is basically the same as the base class, however spell combat gets replaced with ranged spell combat, and spell strike gets replaced with ranged spell strike, allowing you to use bows in the same way you would use spell combat, but with a two-handed bow. Now that brings us to Eldritch Scion. So first things first, they lose access to spell recall, and the progression on their spell combat changes. So they get stuff at a later level. Now in a trade-off for those things, you get to pick up a bloodline. Now bloodlines do a lot of stuff. Primarily, they're going to give you different kinds of spells related to your bloodline, but each different bloodline can give you resistances, a class skill, for instance. There's a lot of stuff there. It would honestly just be too much to go over for a single archetype in this video. However, keep in mind they're the sorcerer bloodlines, and I will be going over them rather extensively for that class. But the Eldritch Scion gets access to sorcerer bloodlines that then give them a ton of extra spells, resistances, class skills, things like that. And that brings us to the Hexcrafter. So at first level, you're going to add all of the curse descriptor spells that are 6th level or lower to your spellbook, which will let you use a witch's curses. And then at level 4, you're going to be able to pick up hexes instead of your normal arcana talents. Hexes are a wide variety of things. Sometimes they just flat out replace spells as an alternative way to cast them, and then other times they're like auras and stuff like that. But essentially this just gives you access to a witch's hexes instead of your regular arcana talents. You still get, I believe it's 1 arcana talent, and then at level 12 we get access to the major hexes, and then at level 18, we get access to the grand hexes, which are typically just improved versions of the base ones. Now, that again takes away spell recall in favor of giving you these hexes. And that brings us to Sword Saint. So Sword Saint, in my personal opinion, is really cool. So you'll be proficient with simple weapons and a single martial or exotic melee weapon of your choice. You will not be proficient with armor or shields, and will incur normal spell failure chance when using any kind of armor. Now again, we actually lose spell recall for this. We gain a lot of bonuses. So for starters, we pick up Canny Defense when wearing light or no armor, wielding your chosen weapon, and not using a shield. You will add 1 point of intelligence bonus per class level as a dodge bonus to your armor class. If you're caught flat-footed or otherwise denied your dexterity bonus, this will also go away. At 11th level, this becomes Superior Reflexes, giving you the ability to make a number of attacks of opportunities in a round equal to your intelligence modifier at a minimum of 1, and this will stack with combat reflexes, which lets you make extra attacks of opportunity equal to your dexterity modifier. And then at level 19, this becomes Perfect Reflexes. You will add your initiative roll will automatically be a natural 20 every time. For our spell strike line, we get a few things added to that. For starters, we're going to get Perfect Strike. So at 4th level, when we hit with our chosen weapon, we can spend a point from our arcane pool in order to maximize the weapon damage. You won't roll damage. The weapon deals its maximum damage. However, it's only for the base damage dice. Sneak attack damage, magical weapon properties, spell strike, or critical hits don't get affected by this. However, if you confirm a critical hit, you can choose to spend another point of arcane pool to increase the critical multiplier on that by 1. And at 9th level, this becomes Critical Perfection. This will let you add your intelligence bonus on a critical hit confirmation with your chosen weapon. Moreover, you can use your class levels in place of your base attack bonus to qualify for any feat, which is a prerequisite. Then at 13th level, we pick up Lethal Focus. When we are attacking a flat-footed opponent, we add our intelligence modifier on damage with our chosen weapon. At level 20, we pick up Weapon Mastery. So any attack we make with our chosen weapon automatically confirms all critical threats as critical hits, and their damage multiplier increases by 1. And lastly, we lose an Arcana talent to pick up Lightning Draw at 7th level. This will allow you to apply your intelligence modifier as well as your dexterity modifier on our initiative rolls. There you go, guys. There is a look at this class and its archetypes. I think it has a ton of flavor, honestly. There's a lot of cool archetypes here that really kind of change up the base class in a lot of fun ways. Just a really cool option if you want to play like a battle mage, honestly. So I certainly hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, help me out with that YouTube algorithm. But regardless, truly, just thank you so much for watching. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.